Have you guys ever considered starting a business in Mauritius and moving to Mauritius? I recently had the amazing opportunity to do an interview with a girl. Her name is Aditi Boolell, and I met her through the guys at Tax Consulting South Africa. And so we just unpacked the whole thing about what it would take to start a business at Mauritius. We looked at the whole process of how something like that would work, and we looked a little bit at the tax benefits of relocating your business to Mauritius. So just once again, just a special shout out to the guys at Tax Consulting South Africa who made this video possible. I really enjoyed doing this interview. It's always lovely to speak to these type of people, and then I'm sure that you guys are going to enjoy the interview as well. So therefore, I just ask, give the video a like, remember to hit the subscribe button on the channel as well, and then let me show you the interview that I did with her. In today's video, I'm going to chat to you guys about the option about moving to Mauritius and starting a company in Mauritius. I'm really privileged today to have Aditi Boolell with me, and I think before we continue, Aditi, would you want to introduce yourself quickly and just say what it is that you do and the reason why we're having the chat today?
Yeah, great. Hi everyone, my name is Aditi Boolell. So I am one of the directors at Temple Group, which is a company based in Mauritius. We offer legal, financial services, accounting, tax advisory, corporate advisory, and immigration services all in all. So we're also associated with Tax Consultancy South Africa, and we're partners with them in South Africa.
I think the first question that I want to ask you quickly is how easy is it to start a business in South Africa, in Mauritius, and is there certain sectors that they specifically favoured towards starting businesses that side?
So starting a business in Mauritius is, honestly, it is very simple, but the key to setting it up is always preparation. Compliance in Mauritius is high, and the more complex your structure is, the lengthier it will be. We have no capital restrictions, so you can be 100% shareholder as a foreign of a company. You do not need to invest a minimal capital amount unless you're coming in for specialized license in specific industries like the insurance sector. Or if you're coming in looking to get an occupation permit by way of setting up a company, there the minimum capital investment will be $50,000 US. In terms of the sectors in Mauritius that are preferred right now, last year's budget did put a lot of emphasis on the ICT sector. Mauritius is looking to being one of the leading ICT sectors across Africa. We also are looking at export and manufacturing, where we now have some preferential schemes around them with a minimum corporate tax rate being at the most 3%. And we also have the pharmaceuticals industry, the hotel hospitality industry, and real estate, which are preferred sectors.
I think you just touched briefly on tax, and I think I'm going to shoot with that question now. What does the tax rate look like in Mauritius? Obviously in South Africa we're paying a lot of tax at the moment, but it's interesting to compare and just see what the guys are paying that side.
So the corporate tax rate in Mauritius, it's a very simple regime. So you're at 15% across the board. Then we do have some tax holidays for some specific corporate structures. If you're setting up what we call a global headquartering license company in Mauritius that has an 8-year tax holiday, for example. Companies who are in the global business sector or the offshore sector, as it's most commonly known as well, can benefit to an effective 3% corporate tax rate under our partial exemption regime as well. I mentioned earlier, other companies have a corporate tax rate of 3% flat out, depending on the business activity. Export and manufacturing are one of them. Under the Freeport zone, you have no corporate tax rate. So as long as you stay within that zone and you export out, you will not be taxed. We have a 15% flat rate for VAT as well. We have no capital gains tax in Mauritius. We do not have any inheritance tax as well, so it is a very simple tax regime. For an individual, we do have a tax rate that goes from 10% to 15% up to a 3 million rupee threshold. Past that threshold, we have the application of a solidarity levy of 10%, which brings your tax rate to an average of about 22 to 23% altogether. So more or less that's our tax regime.
Yeah, I think for South Africans that is really, really attractive, because I mean our tax rate is 45%. They guys are suffering in South Africa. And actually one of my friends actually moved to Mauritius probably about a year ago.
Okay.
And he's just loving it there. And it's just interesting. It's lovely to have this chat with you actually about the whole process. So so if I'm a South African and I decide, okay, that's it, I'm jumping ship, I want to get out of here. What is the process? How long does it take? What do I need to do? Where do I start?
The first step is find someone in Mauritius who knows about the immigration regime. Trying to do it on your own is not impossible, but very difficult. The information you have is vague, especially from the regulatory authorities, and it's not streamlined to a case-to-case basis. So having someone who understands those steps and is able to guide you in a very personal manner is the easiest and most efficient way to do it. If you're coming as a family, then there are a few things to look at. Getting into school for children, for example, usually it has a 6-month waiting period time. So getting prepared and having that checklist allows you to look at the timeline it will take. Usually to get a permit itself, once you start the process, will take you between 1 to 2 months. That is to get the occupation, what we call the occupation permit, which is a dual permit. So it gives you the right to live and to work in Mauritius. In terms of the process of setting up a company, that can be done whilst you're outside of Mauritius. You don't need to physically be in Mauritius to set up a company or to open a bank account. So preparation as well is important in that process.
Yeah, that's really interesting. You mentioned schools,
yeah.
And I think one of the big questions for a lot of South Africans at the moment is infrastructure, because do you guys have electricity?
So we do not have load shedding. We're very lucky in that sense. We have a very good infrastructure. Mauritius in the last couple of years has introduced the metro system as well. So we've put some emphasis on building and improving our infrastructure. We also have now the bigger shopping mall in the Indian Ocean that's been set up. So that's quite interesting to us. Our schools, our public systems, they are of a very good standard. The hospitals are free for citizens and non-residents, and the public schooling system is free as well. So that is something that we pride ourselves on, and we make the most of it.
That's amazing. Another question that I just have quickly is about tax residency. Obviously, we're focusing a little bit on tax side of things. How difficult is it to get tax residency that side? How does that process work?
I think the question of tax residency is a very fluid one. It is not a simple yes or no, black and white sort type of question. The most effective way of claiming your tax residency in Mauritius is being in Mauritius for 183 days in a year or 270 days over a 3-year period. But irrespective of that, as you're moving to Mauritius and you get your occupation permit in hand and it gives you the title of a resident in Mauritius, it does not give you the title of a tax resident. And even if you achieve a title of tax resident in Mauritius through the simple test that exists, it does not prevent you from having a dual tax residency. So it is important to really assess your positions and how you are going to manage your structures and finances when you relocate. It is not a simple shifting physically from one country to another, shifts your tax status as well.
Yeah, I think there's been a lot of talk in tax circles these days about residency and citizenship and whether the things are linked to each other and stuff. And I think the answer is clear that residency and tax residency, or citizenship and tax residency, they don't always speak to each other. They're completely different things.
One is a factor of the other, so it's not complementary to each other. Yeah,
for sure. If I'm busy watching this video today, if I look at the video and I decide, but Mauritius is definitely a destination that I want to investigate and see if I can't get the process going and whether I qualify and stuff like that, where do I start? Where do we get hold of you guys?
So you can get a hold of us through our website, which is templegroup.mu, or you can just send us an email on expatdesk@templegroup.mu. You can get a hold of me on templesup@templegroup.mu as well. So that's TEMPLESUP@templegroup.mu.
And I think one of the other avenues to get hold of Aditi as well is if you contact the guys at Tax Consulting South Africa. So obviously this is one of the talks that we did with the guys there, and they're obviously there to help you guys every step of the way to go through the process. So I'm going to share the contact details of Tax Consulting South Africa in the description of the video as well, and then get in touch with the guys over there, see whether there's option for you. But from what I heard today when my discussion with Aditi, just looking at the tax rates, I think just from a tax perspective, wonder why more people aren't actually making the move at the moment.
South Africa is the second most biggest expat community in Mauritius. So whether you're in South Africa or in Mauritius, you still feel at home.
Yeah, for sure. And then Aditi, I just want to thank you really so much for your time this morning. It's a really privilege to speak to you. And yeah, just to get some inside information of what's happening on the other side of the ocean. Thanks for your time.
100%. Thank you.